Hi guys, welcome to a new video. So as you saw from the little short at the beginning, I was walking through Lowe's and there was like a force that pulled me into this pot and I couldn't help myself. I don't need more trees or more projects, but I just couldn't pass it up. So today I'm going to just kind of take you through the process of taking it out of this pot, see how many trees I can end up with, how many starts, what they look like, and then just kind of see where it goes. I have no idea what I'm going to find in there. Okay, I ran into a little technical difficulty. I ran out of storage, so you can see where I'm at. So let me bring you up to, I've recorded probably 5 minutes, or thought I was recording 5 minutes of video, but so it came out of this pot, it lifted out, and it was in one big massive root ball. So here's the bottom of it, and it was just all one piece. So it was all, the whole thing was standing up like that, and this was the bottom of it. So I cut this off, started out with a pair of scissors like this, and then ended up using my folding saw just to cut the bottom of that off, and kind of called that my root frisbee. But so that's what I did first. And then I started with the chopstick and my fingers just kind of scraping away at the root base and just kind of knocking all the soil loose from it. And as I did that, some of the cuttings have started falling off. So here's what I've got off of it so far. For example, like this was in here, but as I knocked some of the soil away, this kind of got really loose, and then you just kind of work it out. And I'll do the rest of this so you'll see. But so far I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think, different plants. So apologize for that, but I thought I was recording, and so because it doesn't beep or anything, it just shuts off. So anyway, we're back now. So it's kind of the same process as I was doing that didn't get recorded, is just kind of keep picking away at the soil. But some of these, once you get into the interior, they've just really grown together, so you're probably going to have to cut them apart to get them apart. You're going to break some roots, just try not to break too many, but it's going to happen. And like I said, once you get into this interior part, you're probably just going to end up having to cut. I'll just try to get in here and loosen up some of the soil. And sometimes, I mentioned in the part that I didn't record, that's the last time I'll mention that sometimes once I get to this stage, I'll take it over to a hose and just kind of use a jet spray and knock some of the soil off, and they tend to come apart a little easier. You just keep working through there, and these things are really robust. They can take a lot of abuse and spring back. I've got a couple months of growing season left. We're towards the end of August now, I think 3rd week of August. So I'm in Texas, so my tropical trees will stay outside for another couple months, till the end of October growing. Here's another one. So they'll they'll reroot any roots that I end up cutting off or breaking off. They'll fix themselves and start growing again. But the other thing that got cut off was that I've got my tools, chopstick, scissors, folding knife, pruners, And then also some pots. I've got some small pots here. Got some bonsai training pots, plastic pots. And then I've also got some bigger pots, and then some, smaller square pots that I've saved, because I wasn't really sure how many cuttings or trees that I'm going to end up with that I want to try to save. And the reason I got this is because, these things will root so fast from cutting. So you can grow, like if you cut this off here, you could put that in a pot of soil and it'll reroot. But I'm thinking about a kind of a pinging landscape project that I'm wanting to work on, and I needed some more trees that are already kind of tall and straight for that project. So that's one reason why I got this. And the other reason is, who can't always have more trees, right? So that's the real reason. But I did have that project in mind. So if you haven't subscribed, you might hit that subscribe button. That way you won't miss, because I'll be working on that project here in the next couple weeks probably. But yeah, here's another decent tree. And here's a decent one. Got a little bit of a thicker trunk to it, so that's nice, and a lot of roots. And let's see, these are coming apart pretty well. Had to tug on a few, and I could hear some roots snapping, but overall it's coming apart pretty well. Yeah, that's kind of a funky one. We got, that looks like all the same tree. That's weird how it came up there, and it's almost like two grew together, but it still looks like one tree though. Huh. I don't know what that'll turn into. I don't like the crossing branches there, but anyway, we'll save it and see what happens. We might just cut that apart. But there's a couple more. And here's a couple more. And then here's the last one. So let me get some of this soil cleaned up, and then I'll bring all the trees that I got back out here. Okay, that's enough clean. So let's see how many trees we got. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So out of that bucket that I mentioned it cost $25. That's 17 cuttings, but then as I repot some of these, I may take some of these branches down, but like I said, I want to keep some a little bit taller. So I could even reroot some of these cuttings and probably double my double my count. So 17 trees out of one pot. So if you want to get into the hobby and have some trees to work on, it's a cheap way to do it. So now comes repotting. So this one's a rather large one, large-ish. So I think I will use one of my larger pots for that one. And there's really no, I mean, I'm not too concerned with the way they look. I might do a little bit of root pruning, but nothing major. But the main thing is just to get them in a pot of some sort, and then let them get growing. I'll probably speed through a couple of these, but I'll pot up one or two of them just to kind of show the process, and then just kind of get it in here. Just shaking it to nestle the soil in around the roots. And make sure you have enough soil mixed up. This is going to take a lot. So there's one there. Just kind of tamping the soil just to make sure I get it nestled in. And for my project, I don't need it super tall, so I think I will prune it just a little bit because these are kind of long and straight. But I would like to keep, you know, some height on it, so I think we'll leave it there. So there's number one. Not a bad start. I mean, in no time you're going to get this into a, you know, workable bonsai tree. So now I'll pot up one of the small ones just so you can see that, and then I'll just continue on with the process. So yeah, I always like to keep, you know, when you buy plants for the garden or whatever, you know, I'll keep these little training pots. And sometimes I go ahead and cut a little bit of the roots off. And what makes it easier sometimes is to get you a full scoop of soil, kind of get that in there and just kind of hold on to it and pour the soil in. And they're going to lean over like that sometimes, but try to get enough soil in there. Sometimes I'll put rocks in it to hold it up. And like this one, I'm okay cutting some of the length off the top. There's a small one. So I will continue on and come back when I get the rest of them potted. Okay, I've made a lot of progress. I ended up with, I think, a lucky 13 that I potted up, and I'll show you those in a minute. But first I want to show you the ones that I didn't use and explain why I didn't use them. You could, I guess, like this one I didn't use just because there's a lot of distance here, and it would take so long to grow that thick enough to get anything out of it. You could, I guess, maybe put some bend into it and do something with it, which I still may. I don't know. That one's kind of on the fence. All these are just cuttings, which I could root some, but I'm not going to because I ended up with a bunch. And here's a couple that I didn't choose to use, even though I like the thick trunk down there. There's just got a rotten spot there, which would probably heal over, but again, I've got enough trees. The roots aren't that great on it, so probably not going to do anything with that guy. And then this one I showed earlier, it's got where these roots have kind of fused together, and it's just, I'm not really sure what happened. And so it's just got a weird bulge at the trunk and the roots, and I just don't know what I could do with that other than cut these off and try to root new cuttings out of it, because it's really not set up to do a clump style because these two are just parallel to each other. I could cut this bottom one off, but I still just, that's nothing there that's interesting, I guess. Even if I take that off and take this other one off, let me just, I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. That's another advantage of buying one of these buckets, is you can just kind of do stuff. I'm going to cut this off and then cut this other one off. But see, it's still not, I guess it could develop into like a clump, you know, looking at all these roots here. Cut that. Let me go ahead and cut these off. I guess I could root that and then see what happens to it. But again, you know, that's what's fun about these buckets. You could just kind of start chopping and kind of see what happens, just because you didn't spend a whole lot on any one tree. These two are parallel, so choose whichever one you wanted to run with. Maybe cut this off somewhere in here. Maybe that'll be it. It's still too parallel, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of it. And then maybe just let that start growing. That branch broke. I think I might just go ahead and throw that in a pot and just kind of see what happens. I mean, it's a long ways from being anything, but it could be fun. Let me see if it will fit in this pot. Let's see. Hold on a second. I think it needs to be in a bigger one. Let me get a bigger pot real quick. Kind of overkill on the pot, but we'll just go ahead and shove it in there, because that, actually, now that I'm looking at it, that root base might, because you could expose the roots once they start thickening up, and that could turn into something. So let me fill this up a little bit. Didn't spend a whole lot on it, so there's that. Little experiment. So, think I'll cover up a little bit more just so it'll continue to thicken up there. And as I repot it, I'll just expose a little bit more each time. Yeah, that'll be fun. That's a fun little project there. Yeah, so we'll see where that's broke. Go ahead and get rid of that so it'll heal over and sprout a new branch. There. So there's that one. You set it down here with the others. So now I have 14. Let me show you this first one. I went ahead and put it in a little bonsai pot. I just thought that was kind of cool looking, little cute little guy there. So that's the first of the 14. So there's that one. We'll let him do something. And then let me get you turned around here and show you the rest of them. Okay, so here, let me get backed up a little bit. So there's kind of a view, couple in a big pot. There's a little root one that I just did, a couple back here, little ones, a couple big ones up front. Yeah, so in no time, I'm going to have another at least a dozen. Like I said, I potted 14, so out of the 17 that I had originally. So not too shabby. Kind of liking this. You get this one up here where you can see it a little better. This is probably the most. Let me get out in the yard so get some sunshine on it. Yeah, that's probably the best one so far, but like I said, still in training, still a ways to go, but that's so I'll be finding space in here somewhere, which may be a little challenging, but I've got some room back over here. I've got a whole empty shelf back in there where most of them will probably sit, just to let them grow out. And yeah, I get to add another 14 to my already overgrown collection. So all right, I think that'll do it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.